I was born in those days where being born as a girl itself was a disqualification because of lots of ape teasing, unsafe environment, huge dowry demands, and the worst was dowry deaths. And there I was, an ordinary girl who wanted to look powerful. I wanted to grow my own hawk eyes, eagle ways, and tyro paws. My mother understood that one of the good discount the dowry market was offering was to girls who were convent educated. So I was put in an all-girls, costly St. Mary's Convent, Allahabad, where almost every other girl was either rich, beautiful, talented, sports person, or academically very bright. I was none of the above. In fact, I was the tortoise in the sea of mermaids. When I finished my class 12th, my parents learned the biggest discount the dowry market offered was to girls who became doctors. So they rightfully wanted me to become a doctor. But I let them down by failing not once but twice in the pre-medical entrance exam. After that, my father declared that my marriage will be fixed to a groom who does not demand dowry. While a series of unsuccessful proposals happened, with the prospective grooms rejecting me over my whitish skin, or my curly hair, or my spectacle eyes, or the middle class status of my parents, I proudly completed graduation in plain botany and chemistry with plain 66% marks. Some relatives suggested to my parents that owning black and white television set in those days was a status symbol and it could fetch successful marriage proposal for me. So there it was in my house as well. Okay, Doordarshan did not sell any dreams, but I still bought one from it. Udan, the serial that showed an ordinary girl like me battling the chaos and challenges of being a girl in the patriarchal society, and the strength that she acquired when she became an IBS officer, that stirred my soul completely. While my father continued to search an ideal dowryless groom for me in the matrimonial column, in the same newspaper one day I saw that girls have started joining Indian Army. And I knew this is what I want to. But before I could reach my father's table to seek his permission to allow me to fill that army entrance form, he had already finalized a doctor groom who did not demand dowry. No, by now I had learnt a secret mantra of my own life. Make best use of whatever you have instead of complaining what you don't have. So I secretly convinced the doctor that if you like me, then go and tell my father that he should allow me to go for my SSV, the service selection board, which is the prerequisite for the defense services. He agreed and convinced my father on a firm belief that I would fail in any case for the obvious reasons. I was not an army officer's child. I was not a college level sports person. I was not an NCC cadet. Nobody was taking me for the SSB coaching, and no girl from Allahabad had joined Indian Army. I knew agility is a must in SFB. So I drew a circular track, an imaginary one, on my 1 BHK square terrace, and I started relay racing at 4 a.m. in the morning. Why 4 a.m.? So then the neighbors would comment sarcastically, what has happened to this big unmarried girl? I was already 24. I reached SSV Center, and after clearing the series of initial tests, while I was crossing the obstacle course, I had a glimpse that my white meaty canvas shoe in my right foot was turning red. Next was the pain wave. It started to move up, but I stopped it from coming over my face. I stood straight, looking into the eyes of the examining officer, because I knew fear over there is equivalent to failure. So bravery was the only option for me. I was declared 6th in All India merit for the 3rd batch of lady officer, and none other than his first girl to join Indian Army in 1993. I joined Officers Training Academy and I underwent rigorous mental and physical training, which included training me into firing all types of weapons, ranging from pistol, rifles, light machine guns, carbines, hand grenades, and even rocket launchers. I was commissioned as a second lieutenant in March 1994, and my first unit was Siliguri, Bendubi. I reached my unit as one of the first lady officer, and I instantly knew that I have a Herculean task ahead of me to get accepted by the male soldiers in my unit. It was very difficult. It was not easy. Everything around me was non-feminine. My bosses, my subordinates, my colleagues, my helpers, my co-hosts, my neighbors, everything was non-feminine. I gave up my girly side and I strictly aligned myself with the tough and the rough masculine environment. Soon, I was standing in front of a very senior military uniform specialist tailor in Siliguri who refused to stitch my uniform. He very haughtily and rudely spoke in my face that I specialize in stitching officers' uniform, not NCC cadets. When my male senior officer was standing outside, stepped in and introduced me as the new species called Lady Army Officer, he ran inside and got his whole family and the entire neighborhood to see me. And he said, "Look, India has progressed so much. We have lady officers and off officials." It took a lot of self-discipline and lot of hard work, focused attitude to win the trust of my soldiers. And not only to win their trust, but to keep their morale high in situations of life and death later on. A fire broke out in the neighboring forest, and my commanding officer tasked me to take a team of male firefighters to get control over it. I led the team, and we were able to control the fire. But in those days, minus the GPS, we lost our way. We did not know whether we were going inside further in the dense forest or we were coming out of it. And we all knew that the forest was infested with wild elephants. I immediately told my team to stay close and move in the military trained way of host walking and utilize your military map reeling technique. Soon we all were in the safe zone. Army strives for winning the war all the time, and for that, it keeps on practicing in the peacetime. It is well known. The more we sweat in the peace, the less we bleed in the war. And one such practice was inter-army unit drill competition, wherein the soldiers are led by their officers. So the very first day when I gave word of command, the 50 male soldiers of my contingent, nobody could hear my voice properly. And they instantly developed low aura that they are going to lose this. And in army, low morale is like a death bend. Nobody prepares to lose. I knew I couldn't have changed my gender, but I also knew that I can make best use of whatever I have. So I chewed licorice, sweetwood, muleti, and ginger every day. And after everybody slept in each night, I would go to the open playground and shout from the top of my voice. At the end of 30th day, the last soldier in my contingent could hear my voice very clearly. And on the finale, it was my platoon that won the drill championship. Now, married to an Air Force officer without dowry, I was posted as the first lady officer in the counter-insurgency operations area in the Far East. The challenge may sound very simple now, but it was extremely deadly those days. And what was it? To reach office alive and to reach back home alive every day That too for continuous 3 years. I was doing that every day. And then the Kargil War happened. I was part of the logistics team, which provided war inventory to the fighting troops. I, as a single lady officer, undertook every assignment that was given to us as well as to my male counterparts. One such thing was going to the forward bases to check the availability of the war stocks. Next, I was moving in a military vehicle in a highly terrorist infested area with my two male soldiers and one senior male commando officer, all of us geared up in our uniform, boots, and a rifle slung across our shoulders to take on any action, any attack on that long, lone highway leading to Brahmaputra River. It was sheer bravery, but irrespective of the gender. But gender does come out when I wanted to use the washroom after that 5 hours long road movement. Next was my gender's bravely in full form. I had to enter a hut that was isolated, unknown, and that could have had terrorists hidden in it. But one thing is very beautiful in the Indian Army. While we protect the nation, we also extend protection to our own army personals. So, with cover fire and the weapons of my male soldiers, and my own weapon in the ready position, I knocked and entered the hut. Yes, it was safe when I did come out to hide. Later, crossing the Brahmaputra River in a very high, ladderless ferry, to jumping onto the shore, ensuring the weapon does not touch the ground as per the protocol, to walking in that ice-cold water in another river where our dinghy, a small boat, was toppled, and we all balanced it back to the action to make our journey forward to reach our destination where it was minus in temperature. And India's enemy sitting right across the international border, watching us carefully by their binoculars. And there, I stood there strong as part of the Indian Army, performing my duty towards the nation with my very well grown Hawkeyes, Edelweiss, and Tiger Claws. Jane.